So as I'm making this video, the first 2 episodes of season 3 has aired, and God, has it been a long wait since the last season.
Years.
In the first episode, we can basically sum up the main plot points by focusing on 3 things. The first is Jaha, Murphy, and the City of Light. Number 2, the Arkers, what are they up to? And number 3, where the fuck is Clark? Let's start with number 1. So last season, Murphy and Jaha had this interesting symbiosis with Jaha's overwhelmingly blind belief in the idea of this City of Light, and Murphy not really feeling accepted by the 100. He also doesn't really feel like he has a purpose, so along with a couple of other Arkers, they set off to find the City of Light. While Murphy finds a mysterious underground bunker, Jaha finds a woman named Ali. So we find out that Jaha and Ali had been hanging out for the past couple of months, and you just know that shit will hit the fan. Murphy is understandably a bit dubious about the whole thing, and he refuses to go anywhere with Jaha until like the last 5 seconds when Amori shows up with that beaming smile, and he's like, okay, sure. But I still hate you, Jaha. And this is where it gets a bit overwhelming, but I'll try to summarize this as concisely as I can. It turns out that the City of Light isn't necessarily a tangible physical place, but it's a state of mind or another realm that you enter when you take this chip thing. In the City of Light, everyone has nice skin, and there is no death in the City of Light. It turns out that Ali is also portable, and there's a bit of a squabble between Murphy, Amori, and Jaha, but they end up going their separate ways again. The next is the Arkers. What are they up to? The Arkers are introduced in such a nice way, and I'm saying this because it's a contrast to the previous seasons where everything on Earth is still quite new to them, and it's just a lot of horrible stuff that they go through. Months after the victory against Mount Weather, they've established a sort of society where they're thriving, living peacefully. Raven has a rover, Octavia has a horse, Lincoln has got a kick-ass jacket, Bellamy has a cute girlfriend, Monty has a very miserable and bitter Jasper, and Kane has grown a magnificent beard. If you need any indicative of the timeline, you can just base it off of the length of Kane's beard. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things. They've managed to live peacefully and settle as a community, and they've also been doing regular patrols looking for Clark, who, if you remember, was overwhelmed by guilt by having to basically commit a mass genocide that she decides to leave. They go on patrol, have a nice car sing-along, and it's a little sad that this is probably the most fun they'll be having this season, because lo and behold, they get a signal from one of the ARC stations. But it's in Sector 7, which is part of the Ice Nation. To move the plot along, they decide to screw protocol and go anyways, because what horrible thing can possibly happen? They encounter some Ice Nation people, Jasper does something stupid and reckless, and they end up killing all of the Ice Nation people they met. Then they meet with Indra, who has come to warn them about how pretty much everyone is looking for Clark. Her actions in the mountain has been seen as showing great power, and they have given her the name Wanheda, which is the title of the first 2 episodes. Yay. The belief is that whoever kills Wanheda will attain her power, and so pretty much everyone wants to kill Clark.
All I wanted was to eat the chicken that is smarter than other chickens and to absorb its power.
We're also introduced to the Arkers from the farm station, led by a character named Pike. And how do I describe Pike? Do you ever see a character and think, oh, you are going to do some damage? I can feel it. Yeah, that's it. And now we get to move on to the next part, which is where the fuck is Clark? Arguably, this is the most interesting part, because one way or another, Clark Griffin is central to almost every aspect of this show, and even the title Wanheda refers to this character. This season is a bit different. Her entrance is pretty epic because we see her wrestle with a panther. Okay, let's just take a moment to realize what I just said. She's had a bit of a makeover, and let's just have a quick look at Clark Griffin's transformation from season 1 to season 3. She looks good with pretty much anything, and even as a dirt-covered, probably unshowered for months looking lady, she manages to pull Nyla, who is this grounder lady who works in the trading post. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably a part in the episode where you don't want to watch it with your parents. I would say like leave the room or like make some tea until that part finishes. So after spending the night with Nyla, Clark gets captured by an Ice Nation person named Roan. And it's a bit of a shady ordeal throughout the first few episodes because even though he is Ice Nation, he kills these Ice Nation hunters and evades this marching army of Ice Nation people. There's a specific shot in the second episode that really threw me off a little bit. It's when Clark realizes that Roan is Ice Nation, and the shot cuts to zoom into the side of Rowan's face. There's like 3 beats with the music. For some reason, that really stood out to me, and not in a good way. It just seemed so unnatural, and I don't want to nitpick on every tiny thing. So I'm just gonna say that just really stood out as a very odd choice for me. So Bellamy tries to save Clark, but he doesn't really succeed. He gets beaten up and stabbed in the leg, and Rowan is like, bye, don't follow us, please. So the main reveal of the second episode is that it's actually Lexa, the commander, who has sent Rowan to retrieve Clark, and Rowan is actually the banished Ice Nation prince, which sounds pretty darn cool to me. Now, if you guys remember, last season, Lexa may have totally betrayed Clark in a whole leaving her to face the mountain men by herself and making a deal with Cage Wallace kind of thing. So Clark is understandably quite angry, but it was still so gripping to watch these two interact because Lexa looks at Clark like she's got cartoon hearts floating around her, and Clark is super pissed that she spits on Lexa and screams at her while she's being dragged away, and the internet exploded. So that's a summary of the first 2 episodes so far. I wouldn't say it's perfect in regards to the whole Jaha and City of Light storyline. It feels quite slow, and possibly because we don't know everything about it yet. Hopefully we get some more answers in the next episodes, and now that we've got Lexa back in the picture, I cannot wait to see what happens.